Hi guys, welcome to the Social Scene Podcast. Karibuni sana, najua tumekaa bila kushoot, tumekaa bila kuonyesha show, tumekaa bila kukua hapa. In fact, we apologize, but moving forward, tutawa keep up to date with everything that we're doing. But before niwaambie ni nini tunaendelea kufanya leo, let me explain why we have not been shooting. One, because of the guest I have today. Nitaacha ataji-explain here after ameji-introduce the reasons why we have not been shooting. But anyways, thank you so much for the subscription. Mmekuwa mkituonyesha a lot of love in the comments, a lot of love in the likes and the sharing. Thank you so much. Muendelee vivyo hivyo, road to 300 subscribers. And today, without further ado, let me introduce the guest. Yeah? Karibu sana. Nitaacha aji-introduce. His name is
My name is Malela Maze. Guys, I can explain.
Goja kwanza, just say who you are, what you do, where you're from.
Nimeanza na defense. Anyway,
Najua nime-attack, but
so my name is Japhtha Malela, most commonly referred to as Malela. I'm Kenyan, as you can tell from my accent. I'm a writer, an author of 3 books, and I also podcast. What else am I? I'm not a family man, bado natafuta.
Unatafuta nini specifically?
A female human being, one. And what else? I'm a traveler, and I also do a lot of volunteer work around youth empowerment, and I'm passionate about the communities of Africa. So that's a summary.
And here, of course, the Social Scene Podcast, tunapenda watu wenye, they do something for the community. Because the point of the show is to talk about social issues that affect the youth of this country. And you being the youth, handling social issues, volunteering to social organizations. That's an amazing thing. And having you here is an honor, right? I'll be your host, Dicky Chilis. Please don't forget, comments hapo. Anything you feel you want to add on to what we are going to be talking about is most welcome. Kuna namba hapo chini. If you feel like your comment is not good kwa public, unaweza tuma comments kwa hiyo namba. Also, if you wish to be a guest, acha tu nisemange mapema. If you wish to be a guest, kama Malela hapa, you are most welcome. Unaweza tumia hiyo namba. Without further ado, we begin the show.
Malela, explain baadaye.
Hold on, nilikuwa nimesahau. Explain to the people why you're late.
So guys, I've been away from home. So sijakuwa Kenya. Ndio maana nimechelewa kuja show.
Pole.
Si unajua hata Busia si Kenya. So sijasema ni wapi nilikuwa, but
whatever umekuwa ukifanya, is it related to what you do, poetry, your professional life?
Yes. So I'd say one of the luckiest things I have is whenever I do one thing, it usually encompasses other aspects of my life. So kasai nilienda Uganda for a week, 2 weeks, and the organization I volunteer for, it's a non-profit that focuses on one of the focuses they do is youth empowerment. So while I was there, of course, one of my mandates was to capture what was happening there. So soon there'll be a video of what we did in Uganda, I did for the organization. So I'd say usually when I travel, I encompass everything. So sometimes I go for youth empowerment, but I also podcast and capture the stories that are
while at it.
Yeah, while at it. So
okay.
Yes.
You're in the right place.
Yes.
If you guys are watching, in the right place. Mmesikia mambo ya youth empowerment.
Yes.
Mambo ya poetry, so he's in the art industry.
I am, yes.
Mambo ya podcasting, kama sisi hapa, so ni competition. But it is what it is. You said you are a poet, and you also do a lot of youth empowerment volunteering. When did your love for poetry come, and how did it ilikujaje ikakuja pamoja na youth empowerment? How did that come to be?
Okay, that's a good question. So I'd say youth empowerment may come later in my life. but poetry nilianza kitambo. I loved reading, so from the onset nilikuwa nasoma kila kitu. Sitasema nilikuwa nasoma novels, parents magazine nikipata kwa nyumba.
How old were you at that time?
For the sake of my parents, I shall not reveal. But I was pretty young, so I'd say my dad had this Finnish books kwa shelf yake, so I don't speak Finnish, but now I used to just go through it, like anything with pictures and words in it used to attract me. So shifting from reading to trying to express myself with what I saw, that's how I started writing. So just normal writing, and then I in high school, that's when I started doing more poetry. I see it ilikuwa juu ya wasichana, lakini I started doing poetry
because poets were high school. We had one poet anajijua, acha nisiseme jina, is one famous guy anajijua. You know Shanky Austin?
I know Shanky Austin.
Shanky Austin tulisoma na yeye high school.
Alikuwa
he was a poet. Okay, he genuinely used to write amazing poets, but from what he wrote we could tell he was targeting a specific audience. Targeting a specific audience. Na hivyo venye umesema ni juu ya love opportunities in school.
So poetry, that's why I started like really honing it well. And then youth empowerment, I'd say I grew up in a children's home. I'm not an orphan myself, but my parents work in the community. So I think I emulated that from them. So hapo ndio nikapata passion ya work na communities na kusaidia wase, especially young people. It was just painful seeing people going through life alone and all, so just offering support as much as you can. So hapo ndio sasa nikapata passion ya for youth empowerment, especially for our communities in Africa. So yeah, I'd say now moving forward with the life, I'm trying to balance both sides. So sometimes I even use my poetry to tackle social issues, but also on the ground, I also go and be engaged in things that can help, especially the youth. Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Hey. What am I doing with my life?
Seriously.
What am I doing with
See who has me on his show.
People are making impact in communities. Man, that's a good job. That's whatever you're doing is good. And when you umesema your background, your home, the books you used to read, the magazines you used to read, hizo ndio zimekumold into being what you're doing right now. You love what you do right now?
I extremely love what I do right now. I love it. So of course it involves traveling. It involves meeting people. It involves hearing stories. I live off stories. Any stories I will say to. So I think it has encompassed things that I dreamt of doing. So I totally love what I do, like kabisa. So yeah, and I love writing. So
kuna watu hapa nje, you know, sahi watu wanafikiria anything that I do has to bring in money. Right?
Yes.
Would you say somebody who would want to take such a path? Unaweza mpea advice gani? Does it bring money? Let me
KRA might be watching. Cheki, KRA wanaweza kuwa wanaona.
Atuseme ngapi?
Ni 20 bob, KRA tafadhali msichukue 20 bob yangu.
But it does bring something.
Yes, so the first thing I want to say, the path is not straight. So I won't lie to you and say it worked this way and this way and this way. But eventually it brings money. So my writing was one of the least things that I would expect to bring me money, because we're told writers in Kenya are poor and all those stories. So I was walking there knowing writing won't be the thing that will bring me money. But one of the ways I make money is through my writing. So aside from selling my books, which is actually not the most thing that brings me money, funny enough, is I ghostwrite and I do research papers too. So if you have a book, kama umesikia kuna story tu yako fulani na unaifeel lakini huwezi andika, yani unaifeel kutoka. So if you have a book that you need written or a story, I am the guy. So you pay me and I write your stories. So especially from last year I've been doing that. So people reach out to me and we sign contracts. I don't reveal. So even the book iko na jina yako. So it's your name, it's your work, but I'm the one who wrote it. So that's one of the things I do. And then I do a lot of research work for people, and I do copy editing too. And I do kama uko na official papers that need editing or speeches or things like that, I'm your guy. So I'd say that's one of the ways. And then now also I'm paid to write poetry. So kama kuna msupa fulani mahali unataka andikiwe nini special ni mimi. So I'd say yeah, eventually it does bring money, but volunteer work, as you know, it does not pay, because it's more of us now giving back. So that one is not, I'm not paid at all to do my volunteer work. So I'm glad it's that way, because it's volunteer work. So yeah.
So most of the books maybe people are reading are not even written by the writers. They are written by Malela.
I shall neither confirm nor deny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right now my youth wanna go through a lot. With the high cost of living, unemployment. Sahi tumeingia WorldCoin. Watu wanaenda
help Zaba.
And because of it,
okay,
I don't know how to phrase this question, because it is a very confused aspect. It's a topic that's very confused. Everyone is saying everything. It's about the protests that were happening in previous weeks. So the youth, okay, in my understanding, the youth who were coming out to protest, they were protesting the high cost of living. But there's a group that says, no, people who are complaining about the high cost of living are actually not in the streets. They are working to be able to sustain the high cost of living that is there, right? And we have now the political class that says it is the high cost of living. The others are saying it is not the high cost of living that is making them bring protesters to the streets. I would love for you, as a person who represents the youth, in your volunteering work, in your writing, in your the way you express yourself, and in the support that you give to the communities. What is your blanket opinion?
Blanket opinion. I love that word.
What is your blanket opinion of the whole situation?
So I remember I stayed in Uganda for a while this year. So of course you see memes and people commenting about high prices of commodities, because at the end of the day it breaks down to buying sugar and buying salt and buying flour. So of course you can't say only the middle class. Also watu wa chini wanaumia, actually even more, because they can't take loans, they don't have a cushion, they don't have a job, they don't have because for middle class, working class, they can take loans as an alternative or other things. So I nimeenda kwa duka, and then I buy 2 kgs of sugar. I order for 2 kgs of sugar, so I'm told to give 440 shillings. I'm like, what are you talking about? So this is actually true.
440.
My 500 shillings, I get only 60 out of it. So then the reality of it hits you. But coming back to that issue is, first of all, protests happen when governments don't listen. That's the whole point of protesting. When a government tells you this is it, we won't listen to your opinion or any other alternative, and this is what we decide. So first of all, I'm never against protests. Protests are healthy, especially if the governments don't listen. But you know, in Kenya we equate protests and violence all the time. I don't know why it has to be that way.
I think it's because it's always characterized by that.
And I've been growing up in Homa Bay, Nyanza. First of all, I've been in protests myself. I've been and Nyanza is one of those places that police brutality is highest, because it has been found that the opposition side comes from Nyanza most of the time. Yes.
So the hostility.
Yes. So first, I say the violence there is not beautiful at all, and that's why even now I'd ask that those bipartisan talks happen, because if these protests continue, more people get hurt, and the people getting hurt are not the middle class or working class who can afford healthcare. There are these people who cook grao. Utaenda upewe painkillers ukufe, you know. So first of all, there's an issue. The high cost of living is true, whether people want to accept it or not. Whether you're on the government side or opposition side, that is a truth. So the question is the way forward. So government should stop pretending that it's not happening. Look at content creators. Man, ndio tufike 1000 subscribers ni sijui ngapi.
Si utuulize.
And then they want to tax you for that. I'm just thinking that the government wants to tax us to death, and that is my opinion. And especially the young people. First of all, the government should give us tax breaks. The government should give us subsidized taxes as young people in any space, in content creation, in other industries. Young people fear even revealing they have businesses because government kuji chop kila kitu.
Chop kila kitu.
Yeah, so I'd say it's not a favorable environment for us young people, especially if you are from a background that's not so vibrant. If you want to start a business or start a venture, it's not so good for us. So if the government can consider the youth specifically, it will be hata hizi protest hazitakuwa necessary. So yeah.
Okay. But there's this thing that the president also I listen to the president a lot chini anasema in his addressing the masses. He's always telling the youth about jobs, creating jobs, kutengeneza nyumba. You know, there's as in I don't know how to put it, as in jobs yes, they are good, but they are not sustainable.
Yes.
Also, they are not addressing the problem in the country there are graduates who have studied, but they don't have jobs.
Yeah.
No, I don't think that addresses, and it actually adds to what you're saying. The government needs to listen to the youth and give people tax breaks, because kuongeza tax hakuna siku ina reduce the cost of living.
So imagine being jobless and then you're still being taxed and you're paying for. So some people are just opting to other means. That's why the cost of the rate of crime increases with the high cost of living, because people have to compensate lack of money.
Money.
And especially young vibrant people who have the strength to go and break doors and everything. Hiyo ndio alternative wako nayo sasa.
Sasa ndio watu wamesikia Worldcoin.
People gather there because that 7k will make a difference by the way.
Wait, how is it happening? Is it that wanapewa 7k ukishaenda and then
okay. Honestly speaking, I don't know the full dynamics. I just have the story partially. But what I know is that you're paid there is an exchange there. So your details and your biometrics for that money. So actually sisi nasikia tunacheza tunapewa kidogo, countries zingine watu wanapewa pesa mingi sana.
Because the desperation is
higher here, yeah. So desperation is expensive.
It's the life we live in.
Yeah.
You as a poet, what are like the challenges that you face? Because mimi kama mwanafilamu nitasema okay, you're also a filmmaker.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
You understand mwanafilamu akisema equipment, akisema lights, akisema weather, akisema pesa, akisema whatnot. You as a poet, let's say specifically as a poet, intertwined with a community volunteer, and the jobs that you do, what are the challenges zenye umeface?
Okay. So as a poet, monetizing my craft is a very hard thing, especially in Kenya. Yeah? I'd say even now, people who actually consume poetry, not so many, as much as I would want it to be. So I'd say monetizing my craft is a very hard thing. And even leave alone monetizing, distributing my art. People can go to Netflix and watch films. Yeah, people can go to YouTube. There's hope, even though monetizing is still as hard in films. Selling your film to a production company or is very hard, right?
It's hard.
Inabidi tuweke YouTube na una hata 1,000 subscribers. So it's very hard, but I'd say poetry is still, consuming poetry is ni kazi, wacha tuniseme hivyo. It's just for you to find specific people, specific client, you have to try four times as hard to just do that. So I'd say that's one of the things. Another thing is, one of the things I've faced is people asking me, why am I writing in a foreign language? Kwa nini siandiki kwa nini?
Kwa lugha ya
my African
mama
language, and I'm pro-Africa. But actually I have written in Swahili and my Luo language, but English is the main one, because my target is not only Africa, my target is the world. And you also have to look at a language that is very universal, the most universal language that you can find. So that's why I opted for English. So I said, if I can craft another language so well, why not try it? So I'd say those are the few challenges that I have faced in poetry. And then poetry ni ngumu because you have to keep reading and growing.
And growing your brain.
Because inabidi utaambiwa wewe umekuwa kuandika the same things for 10 years. Kwani wewe grow?
How improve
bana. So I'd say that, yeah. So that's on the side of poetry. So I don't know if you wanted me to also mention on the side of youth empowerment and
on the side of youth empowerment also.
So First of all, volunteering culture is very unique in Kenya because most of the times watu wanasemanga tunaenda huko kwa tunapata nini unatupatia.
That is the question that everyone asks. What am I gaining? Nini unatupea?
But you know, the whole point of volunteering is the word volunteer itself. You're giving yourself to do a cause. Without expecting any benefit in return. So when I tell people, if you want to join me in volunteering, I have to make it clear, especially for my fellow Kenyans. Wacheni kuchoma wada, wacheni sema kwa Kiswahili, wacheni kuchoma. So for my fellow Kenyans, I have to make it clear. First of all, there is no salary, there is no financial benefit. We actually, it's in your heart to go and help in the community without expecting anything in return. So that's one of the challenges with the volunteer. Mtu anakuja kuuliza, wewe kwanza una travel sana nini? Nikamwambia no, haiko hivyo by the way. Hii si kujibamba. It's actually we're going to the community, finding real people, real issues and wendi huko ati mimi ndio savior. You can ask them what your issues are, how can I assist? So that's one of the things. And then so one of the challenges with Kenyans is just explaining to them that volunteering ko hivi. But now but young people are really open to learning because now more people, especially in my circles now, people are really, I have lots and lots of Kenyans who are in volunteer work now, and inside Kenya and around Africa also. So that's
so there's progress in growth in the volunteering and youth empowerment sector.
Yes. And we're making a point to encourage people.
Wewe nikuje
to join.
Mnanipea nini?
Tunapatia good vibes.
Good vibes and inshallah. And exposure. Hey, bring up a point kubwa sana ya language. Language when it comes to our art as Africans. Let me just say at Kenya. Kenya specifically. Jio ndio najua sana. Kenya kama mimi mtu wa filamu, we usually have a problem when it comes to language. You want to create a film that is what's it called in language ya local dialect. Kikuyu, Luo, hizo. But sasa hautaweza kufikia a broader audience. Out of Kenya. Unaona? Now tunaanza kujicompare na country kama South Africa, country kama Nigeria. South Africa wataproduce filamu yenye iko in Koi or whatever language, Zulu. They will produce films like that. And in Kenya, people will watch. Unaona? And then Nigerians, same thing. Igbo, Hausa, sijui gani, they produce films in those languages and we watch. Now the challenge inakujanga sisi kwa wanafilamu. Sisi tunataka kutengeneza film kwa Kiturkana. Ama Kijaka, ama Kikikuyu. But sasa tunaogopa hiyo aspect ya atuta reach a wider audience. Africans hawajui Kikuyu. If somebody mtu anasikia Kenya, the first local community anafikiria ni Masai. You see? So there's no hiyo aspect ya appreciation ya language zetu tukiwa wote. So hivyo venye umesema, you in poetry people are questioning why you're using English instead of local dialect. Na umesema story ya world nini. So hata mimi nasemanga as a filmmaker, that is what we try to do. We try to do traditional or community related films, but tunazifanya in English so that people outside can understand. But ni maisha ya filamu, ni maisha ya filamu, ni maisha ya art in general.
But that issue you raise is very interesting. Because how imported things we prefer, but our own we do not prefer.
We do not.
Yeah, but you know, there's a guy I follow and I emulate so much, Steve Biko. Alikuwa revolutionary huko South Africa. He's one of the leaders of Black Consciousness movement. So he said one of the main things, divide and conquer, was one of the ways British used majorly. Because they tell you Kikuyu, you are better than Luo, South Africans, you are better than Nigerians, That's so if you are all divided, then they can conquer all of us very easily. So he said one of the things that black men we're taught to do is to hate each other. So you hate yourself. And that has led to, you know, a lot of things being taken away from us because we can't stay together. So again, it comes to Kenyans, we'd rather not watch ourselves than watch foreign things. It's also the allure of a foreign thing, thinking that a foreign thing is better. Utapata nimenunua headphones Uganda, na nikanunua headphones better Kenya, lakini yule someone would prefer the headphones from Uganda just from because Uganda. They are foreign, you know.
Actually, your mentality,
it's there.
It is ukweli people would prefer kitu yenye imetoka outside than kitu iko hapa.
But at the end of the day, now I'm learning more and more, because it's growing up is a thing. We think things from the US are better than Kenyan things, and you realize but there are things that are better than, you know. So it's about, at the end of the day, of course there are things that maybe are made somewhere that are better than here, but it's not everything. So so I think
from one thing to another.
So I'm sure there are Kenyan films that are better than some South African films, and vice versa. So you need to question yourself: do I want it because I think it's better, or I just think it's foreign? So
just because it's foreign.
Umetravel,
umeona dunia. Sisi wengine tumekaa tu kwa hizi borders witnessing all the chaos happening. Not having an escape route. Hatuna passport, tumejaribu kuzitafuta. Laini ni ile printers zimekataa kufanya kazi.
Poleni jo.
You've interacted with, being in poetry, you interact in a creative industry other countries.
Yes.
I'm thinking.
Yes.
What would you say is the difference in the art or creative landscape in Kenya and maybe even a neighboring country like Uganda? Because you see, like Uganda, we consume what they bring us, but we don't know how the landscape itself looks like. What would you say is the major differences in unaweza note from Kenya and other countries?
So Uganda, let me start with Uganda, because I think they may interact na Ugandan artists more. So first of all, man, those people appreciate the art. They really do. Kenyans do, but man, Ugandans are crazy about the art. So especially the north, Arua, where I come from, if you look at it from outside, you might think it's just a local thing, because, you know, but those people, they are local artists. Like, we might not know them, we might never know them, but they really are. They are celebrities.
They are the thing.
They are the thing there. So tunaweza waletea Shinsky. Say okay, so let me say Calligraph Jones. So we might grab them Calligraph Jones, who is a sensation Africa wide, but you find that they appreciate their local artists more. So I'm being introduced more to their scene, and even the upcoming ones. Now, the ones who don't have a name per se, they're still really well appreciated in Kenya. For you to get money, say even as a rapper who's upcoming without a name, impossible. What? And then dance, I'd say that dance, Kenyans will come for me for saying this, but let me just say it. Ugandans can dance, man. Sisi tumejishikilia na odi na miondoko. And let me tell you, Ugandans, I'm yet to see Kenyans who are better than Ugandans.
We are. Okay.
And then South Africa also, the art scene is very vibrant. Even on the streets, I was just walking on the streets. There's a waterfront in Cape Town. We just went. Youth groups there doing their choir things, and it's amazing. Hapa Nairobi mazee, mtu anachapa kwa street.
Shout out. Upige ati wimbo mna.
Watu wanakulenga vibaya sana.
Nobody has time for you.
But I'd say even in East Africa alone, there's money for creatives. Yes, we have to really work for it, but there's money for creatives. I feel that in Uganda, you pesa local utakula, yes, but on the corporate side, Kenya, we are really ahead, way ahead of our time. Our artists are really taken care of when you get there. So that's the difference, I'd say. So you work for it double, but the reward is
once
worth
you get
it.
there.
Yeah, I'd say that. Yeah.
Okay. Hiyo ni inaitwa catch 22 situation. You either get appreciated while you're starting, or you work hard and get appreciated later. Delayed gratification.
Very hard thing to do.
So niko na quiz hapa nataka kukuuliza. I have 3 questions for you.
Hey, okay, sikianga 3 questions. Ooh.
3 good questions. Sijali ni primary school
I
questions.
shall survive.
Kuna A, B,
I
C,
shall
D.
survive.
You shall survive.
Audience, if I get it wrong, this is not the real me. This is a clone. I've been cloned, guys.
Waliko inachana.
If I get it right, it's me, eh?
Since you are pro-African,
Yeah.
you have traveled.
Mm-hmm.
You know, I assume.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I assume you know a lot more than I do, and most of us do. I'm asking you questions related to Africa.
Okay. All right.
So the first question is, after the secession, after South Sudan split from Sudan in 2011, which country became the largest one by area?
Sudan, the former Sudan.
Hata hujaacha nikupe. And you are wrong.
No way.
Yes.
For real?
Yes.
Kwani ni map gani naonanga? Anyway.
It is not Sudan.
It's not Sudan?
No.
You want to tell me South Sudan is bigger?
No. It is another country.
Oh, guy. Listening skills. Wacha nisikie maswali.
Sikiza swali. After South Sudan split from Sudan in 2011,
yes,
which country became the largest one by area?
Oh. So, which country in Africa?
Yes, in Africa.
Oh. Listen ni shida. So, mimi nilikuwa nimeenda ahead nikadhani South Sudan na Sudan. Okay, so let me see. Central African Republic?
No.
Can I?
Let me give you the choices.
Okay.
A, Nigeria. B,
Mhm.
DRC. C, South Africa. D, Algeria.
Sasa I'm stuck between Algeria and DRC because DRC is huge.
You're close.
I'll go for, let me die with Algeria.
Correct. Very correct. One common question most of us tukitoka high school tunakuwa tushasahau. How many countries are there in Africa?
Sasa utanipatia choices.
Unataka
54.
choices? Correct. Last question. Which country has recently changed its official language from French? Which country in Africa has recently changed its official language from French? A, DRC. B, Guinea-Bissau. C, Mali. D, South Africa.
I read this recently, so if I miss
Exactly.
my followers on Instagram will shame me. I posted this very recently.
Yes.
I'd go for Mali.
Correct.
Yes.
It's Mali. It's Mali. Correct.
Hey,
Kwa hivyo umepata
wadau, it's me. I'm not
umepata
fluent. I'm
2
not
out of
fluent.
3.
2 out of 3. Wow.
That's amazing. Let's get back to our conversation about art in Kenya. Do you think the government right now yenye tuko nayo is it helping with whatever steps it takes, be it Talanta Hela, be it whatever it's doing? Do you think it's making the right moves to help the creative industry? You as a poet, you as an artist.
So the first reality that it's a reality kabisa, if you're not known, you won't get that help. Because si watu wanaitwa Talanta Hela hiyo nini. I accept. Me, I'm not as famous as say as Ziad or Butita or someone. So of course, before they think about me, who knows me? Who knows me?
But people know you.
Of course, people know me,
but not like that.
Not like that. So at the end of the day, first of all, is the networks we have. But you know what they're doing in Tanzania is, and person who is not known can actually benefit directly from the government. And that's what I want us to, I hope we adopt in Kenya. In that initiatives like Talanta Hela can actually reach somebody without them being known. As long as their work is good and they are working hard, they should. So the umbrella body that takes care of artists, say, here to leave the Kenya Film Classification Board. There's MCSK, right?
For musicians.
There's a lot of complaint there because even famous musicians get like 700 in a year, man, which is like 700 shillings.
By the way,
it's crazy, right?
In a year.
Yeah, it's crazy.
And I still survive here now for 12
So
months.
if Calligraph Jones gets 1,000, what will a person who is not get? Who is not known get? So my call to the government, they've shown there's an initiative, but for us to actually see that they're helping us is have an umbrella body that once you register is beneficial to everyone, because of course if you don't register they can't also know that you exist. But at this moment in Kenya, let me tell you, the umbrella bodies are not helping any artists at all. It is their networks that are helping them. At this point, someone will call you to a Kenya hela dinner, and if you got Talanta hela dinner just because you network and you have a relationship, but it's not out of merit, you see. So my plea is that if the government can make an umbrella body that truly benefits artists, especially now musicians have their own, filmmakers, kwanza tuongeleangi
hakuna
structure. Poetry, hakuna poetry society of Kenya. Writers at least equal, but it's more of a private entity than a government entity. There's Writers Guild, which is it's an organization that is really helping writers in Kenya right now. So again, my plea to the government is have an umbrella body, register members, have for specific art in the country, and then when there are grants or loans or anything to be given, it benefits someone who we least expect to benefit. So,
Mwongele kuhusu writers, and you're a writer. Nimekumbuka Hollywood writers wali strike.
Nimeona hiyo story,
As in, that is an example of a structure.
Yes.
Because writers can come and put shows on hold.
Yes.
They can say this show is not running because we are not writing.
Yes.
Even the speeches of the president are not going to be written. Mutafute venye mtaandika.
Nothing is being written.
See, you see shows like Jimmy Fallon.
Yes.
They're not airing anything right now because
the writers are gone.
Anyone who wants to continue with the show, they have to write on. There is no teleprompter. They have to either read something that they've written themselves. No, right? Because you can't. No one can double up to become a writer. A producer cannot double up ati akuja akue writer, right? Niko na swali nataka kuuliza. Imepotea kwa kichwa.
Iko tu mahali hapo.
Iko tu mahali. Niko nataka kuuliza swali gani? Imekuja. What are the opportunities right now zenye a poet mwenye ako huko nje, somebody who looks at you, because umesema ujulikani kama Aziad, but I can tell you unajulikana, not kama Aziad, but unajulikana. Poet Malela, I'm sure if I go to a creative space and I say Poet Malela, I won't lack 5 people who know you already. And ukitwa hizo dinner pia tuite, si tumenetwa
talk to me well.
Ukitwa hizo dinner
usitusahau
tuite pia tukija tunetwa,
si ndio?
What would you say are the opportunities for poetry so that mtu ana watch pale mwenye ana venture into it, akona calling, because I'm thinking these things ni calling mtu akona calling huko. What would you say are the opportunities zenye unaweza encourage mtu nazo akifanya poetry?
So I'll just give from my own experiences because that's the best. So to like map out the path I took. So nikiingia Nairobi 2014, watu ni si kitambo sana. Mimi ni mtoto ya ushago.
2014 kitambo. 2014 najua nilikuwa.
Si juzi. Useme watu watagesa age yangu, cheza chini. So one of the things is networking again. So attend, first of all, in Nairobi alone there are so many poetry spaces. So start with the known before, because from those known ones you know they are known, because there are events every day in Nairobi. There are thousands of events that we don't know about. Even me at this point, there are events that this happened in Nairobi.
What?
Yeah. So first of all is attend the most common ones. Like me, I started with poetry after lunch. I started with there was called Fatuma's Voice. Ilikuwa inafanyika Power 254. There's one at All Saints that happens every first Friday of the month. So open mics, events in the university is another good space to network.
With a campus for performers, any person who is a performer, that's the best place.
Because when you transition out of campus, these same people will be working in other spaces and be like, nilikuwa na diki alikuwa mzii nini kufanya hii filamu nini wacha ni mcall ama let's go to the show because people come to my show buy my books and people I went with to school also, a large number of them, or people who call me, oh I know a poet. I've gotten so many opportunities because somebody called me out somewhere. So again, in campus, don't go to class urudi kwa nyumba. Enda events maze. Go with people. And then also, aside from the art events, go to professional events, things that can teach you about time management, soft skills, any kind of soft skill, because those will increase your capacity, and then you can also sell your things there. So I'd say Nairobi is a good place to create,
to be a creative.
So alafu zingine I Google like Kenya bars, like those sites that have events and all. I go and look at events that are happening somewhere, because some of these things that happen, Sarit Expo, there's Book Week and all those. Me uenda huko naenda kwa every stand na interact. I remember one time Sarit had a book expo for a week. So Writers Guild had their stand. So Writers Guild, I have friends there. So I went to the stand, and then on that line kulikuwa na stand ya US Embassy, and I had a copy of my book. Mi nikaenda huko nikawagotea, and I told them I'm a writer, and I'm offering my book to the US Embassy to put it in their library.
Hey.
So nasikia hiyo wanashangaa, who is this? We don't even know who you are. But why you are? But of course they actually accepted my book. Wow. And they took it and I signed and everything. And that's how it happened. So some of these places you just send yourself, create opportunities, talk to people. Don't sit in the house, because Nairobi has opportunities for real.
Mujitume. That also goes for you, Dixon.
Yeah.
Mujitume. You can comment opportunity what you think about what you're saying. Is it something that you as a creative or you as a person who knows a creative, what do you think of what Malela is sharing with us? Because chenye una share, man, very profound. Some people should need this kind of advice, these kinds of talks, because also art is a letter to depression, especially when it's not giving what it's supposed to give. It can bring depression very much, but hearing such words from you, za kujituma, za opportunities ziko, that Nairobi is a good place. But I also think in Kenya we have reached a point where it is possible, it is not yet there, but it is possible for us to go into now the interior counties zingine and spread like the access to art, like art iweze kulipa watu without them having to come to Nairobi. Because tena tunajazana huku, pesa inakuwa kidogo.
Hata mabei yetu nimejaribu kufanya vitu hapa na pale. Especially with county government now, there's opportunities almost every place in Kenya. So it's just about looking for them.
Okay. Our producer anakuanga na swali moja, anasemanga guest aulizwe every time. Juu yeye hawezi kuja kukuinterview. Ako na swali yenye anataka ujibu. If you had the power to create laws in the whole world, you had the power, you had the absolute power, you are God, in other words, to create laws, what will be that one law that you would put for everyone to follow, that one law that you would never change for everyone to follow in the world?
Producer wenu. Producer.
Hiyo ni kazi ya uburi. Sina zangu ni mzuri.
Producer, wherever you are, God is seeing you. Let me think about it. That one law. So many laws are passed in my head right now, but I realize I don't have that much choice. One law. Can I steal the law from somewhere but still make it a law?
It's okay.
Love your neighbor as you love yourself. Na isikwe talk, iko kweli. Unaona venye tunajipenda, the way we are selfish to each other. And I see you. I treat you the way I will treat myself. That iko universal law na iko followed.
Okay. All right. Noted. Malela.
Yes.
Naona hapo kuna kitabu. And I'm sure ukiingia nikaona by Japhtha Malela. Tuambie something about this book. Mi sija have an opportunity to read it. Inaitwa If Love Was a Poem.
Yes.
A collection.
Yes.
Sounds like Songs of Solomon. Part 2.
Now I just kuvunjwa moyo bado nilivunja tu na hii kitabu bado. So this is If Love Was a Poem. It's a poetry collection, and guys, you can get it on Amazon. So it's one of the 3 books I have published. So it's a 3rd book actually. So the first one is Pieces of My African Soul. It's a poetry collection. And then the second one is called Rocks Bleed Too and Other Stories. It's a short story collection. And then this is the latest one. It's a poetry collection. Yes, so
Okay.
as you buy Amazon.
Amazon.
Yes.
People can get them on Amazon.
They can get them on Amazon. Or reach out to me and we
So
set up.
this is the latest one?
This is the latest one.
So if you want to get If Love Was a Poem, a collection, you need some love, some lovely words, some good.
Hautavunjwa roho kabisa.
Hautavunjwa roho. It's for those people who still believe in love, and those who want to believe in love again. This is the book for you.
Yes.
Nimekuchapia promo.
Umechapia promo vizuri sana.
Anyway, you can purchase this book on Amazon.
Yes.
And you'll have a lovely time all the time. It's not a book that you can read at once, but you can always play it, right?
Yes. And you can have the soft copy or physical copy or any type you want.
Oh, kuna option ya soft copy.
Kuna option.
Okay, so get yourself a copy, man. Touch a link up at Amazon.
Yes,
We'll leave the link down there.
All right.
Yeah. So, Malela.
Yes.
Our guests, we have a culture of guest akikuja anatengeneza maswali for the next guest.
Okay. Interesting.
Okay.
Why?
So na wewe pia kuna guest alikuja before akakuuliza maswali.
Going back to previous episodes.
You will go back to previous episodes. So these are the questions, but don't worry, you will have an opportunity to ask yours. So that means you'll have one more viewer to see how your questions were answered by the next guest.
Okay.
Which we don't know who it's going to be. But our previous guest asked this. What would you consider as the height of your career?
So far. Wow. There are 3, but they're like one. Let me just mention them.
Holy Trinity.
So, I have had the opportunity to work with the Robert Frost Foundation.
Okay.
I didn't know it was going to turn out like that, but I have friends in Boston who, one of them is a teacher in the community. So they had a poetry day, and one of the sponsors of the poetry day was the Robert Frost Foundation. And I was mandated to write a poem for the Robert Frost that day. So they got so impressed that they wanted to connect with me. So that's one of the the highlights of my career. And then the second one is, let me just combine them. I've had the opportunity to work with 3 more schools in the US. One, I even had a video call with the students in classroom. They were asking about Kenya and everything, so that was
Did
nice.
They ask if you live with lions?
They asked, and I had to go. So thankfully my apartment was on the top floor, and it was on the highway, Thika Road. So I showed them, they're like, wow, that's Kenya. I'm like, yes.
What do you mean?
So those are the heights of my career. And then the other one is to work with youth in 10 countries across the world. So that one is still, one moment, it's a continuous thing for me. So those are the ones I count there. Yeah.
Careers with purpose. Umeona? Pendeni kazi yenu itakupeleka Boston na US na 3 schools.
Na 3 schools.
Second question aliuliza. Hata nitakupea chance ya utauliza maswali 3 because when you started with 1 question.
Yeah.
And then it became 3 questions. Given a chance, what is that one thing you would want to change about yourself? Amekuweka
kwa spotlight. But it's a good question because it gives me time to reflect. One thing I'd love to change about myself. Wow. Hey, you philosophy question. One thing I'd love to change about myself. I'm thinking through a lot of things actually. It's not even one thing.
Kuna
weaknesses. Naangalia file. Nisema gani ndio niweke in public. But I'd say sometimes I'm too trusting. too hopeful. So I'd love a pinch of skepticism kidogo, because I've been hurt severely because of that. So if I can, that's one of the things I'd love to change about myself. The second thing, let me just say that niko sure ni one thing niliambiwa, but you files ni mingi. The second thing is, I wish I was faster in doing things that I do. I am fast as people perceive, but I wish I was like who accomplished things. So
okay. Umeongea kuhusu trust. Not to direct this question to myself. But me, I'm never trusting.
Who hurt you?
Don't trust.
Who hurt you?
I don't trust people. Not even because of my experience, but seeing other people
do it to other people.
Go through hey, people go through shit out here.
May Jesus heal you in Jesus' name.
It has saved me from a lot of hurt. You have no idea. But also it has prevented me from some opportunities.
Okay, so there's a pros and cons.
But yours, I'm sure it has also made you trust some people who it was right to
trust them a lot. Yes.
Last question. What would you describe as your thought of a perfect life?
Who is this guest? Huyu ni nani? First of all,
hatutasema jina ndio uende watch.
Sure. So first of all, the first perfect life, continuous supply of food. That is the first perfection. Msiliza ati evidence iko wapi?
I was thinking you're going
philosophy.
A deep answer.
Nakuja kwa deep answer. But the first one is continuous supply of food. Food too. Anyway, what's the deep answer? But I think deep answer.
But it's a deep answer.
It's a very deep answer.
There is food.
Hunger is one of the biggest problems in the world. You know?
There is food.
Yeah, there is life.
There is everything else.
You're a wise man.
Thank you.
So a perfect life is a life where Africa is left to grow by itself with its own resources. And that would be a very perfect world for me. And I saw a glimpse of it in Cape Town, so I knew it is possible. So a world without corruption and prejudice in Africa here, because I know it's a world problem, but Africa is one of the worst places. So again, you inasema, it solves every aspect of life. So, but ile food.
Ile food kwanza.
Yeah. So
okay. Umesikia? Wewe kwako, what do you think will be a perfect life?
Team food.
Team food. Team deep philosophy.
Team deep philosophy.
Thank you so much for coming. We appreciate. And tumekuja to the end of the show. Of course, nitakupea opportunity ufanye revenge yako. Sadly, revenge haikwangi to the person mwenye alikuuliza.
Maze hiyo ndio shida yo.
At least tutawatch show. Una carry forward.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for showing up. Guys, thank you for showing up. We appreciate you. We do this not because of you show up or because you're viewing our shows, but it's because we love what we're doing, and you showing up is validation that what we are doing is right. So thank you so much. Keep subscribing, keep sharing. Kama kuna kitu imekugusa kwa roho yenye Malela amesema as a poet, au kuna kitu moja nitamuuliza amalizie nayo before, since he's a poet, you know what I mean. Utatuacha na two lines hapo tushine. I'll see you. Lines. So thank you so much. All the time we appreciate when people interact with our content. We appreciate when guests come and they see that this is a good show. We appreciate your presence, and we'll see you in the next one. Malela.
Yes.
Tufungie show.
Naweza soma.
Hapana, you see you're a poet.
Naandika mingi hadi zisahau zingine. Okay. I never sing, but for my Africa I will. I give the Most High my praise in an African way, because He molded me so that beneath this dark skin you find unimaginable brightness. Papa negwedete, Papa ndakuyanza, Nyasaye ninkwanchete, Nyasaye guniero kamano kumchoya Afrika piny majaber, giber mogundho.
Hey! Thank Thank you. That is a show you may end in style. I was your host, Dicky Chilis, and this was
Malela.
See you in the next one. Peace out.
Peace out.